Hello, Miracle Mavens. We've got 327 of us on early. This is exciting. Hey, it's Hal. Chip Franks is here. He was going to introduce me, but I thought, Chip, I'm like in the zone. I don't even want any buffer time of you introing. I just want to dive in and connect with everybody. So if you are hearing me, let me know in the chat. Please leave me a quick message in the chat here, down here. I think it should be on your right side. And let me know you can hear me. That would be amazing. I'm not seeing, I see some chat stuff from folks that have been on early, but can anybody, if you can hear me now, please say hello and just let me know where you're calling from. By the way, I wish you could see what I'm seeing right now. Maybe I'll give you guys a tour. I am at David Osborne's lake house. Our house flooded and it's being repaired. So I'm here at David's lake house, and it is absolutely, the view is unbelievable. So once we have more folks on here, I'll give you guys a quick tour. Can you guys hear me? Say hello. This is, gosh, technology is not my friend here lately. If you can hear me, leave a quick comment. And let me know. I'm not going to risk that. Never mind. It says that I might lose everything. Pop out chat. Oh, interesting. Hello, hello. We hear you. Okay, there we go. So the chat was just broken. Everything else is working. Awesome.
There's that's a delay on there.
That's so exciting. No, the chat had completely shut off. So I was showing nothing, and I just refreshed it, and now we got a lot of people that are chatting in, which is great. So, in fact, yeah, you can pop out the chat. It's interesting. I'm going to pop out the chat because otherwise I have no chat. So I'm popping it out. Miracle Mavens, you are in the right spot. Hello we got from Malibu, from Grand Haven, Michigan, Sebastian from Tennessee, Kathy, good morning. Jonas, yes, you can hear me. Awesome. Missy, good morning in New York. From VA, Philly, I can't even keep up. Rebecca from Wisconsin, Dallas, UK, San Diego, Chicago, Rotterdam, Montreal, Netherlands, Cayman Islands. Hello from France, Hamilton, Ontario, the Netherlands, Denmark, Toronto, Park City, Utah, Guadalupe. Holy cow! You guys, you're going to break the internet. We're going to break the internet from Germany. Wow. I am humbled. I am honored. I freaking love you guys and gals. This is amazing. From Des Moines, hi from New Jersey, from New York, from Montreal, from Kentucky, from Alabama, Colorado. This is blowing up. This is exciting. Exciting. Somebody said echoing. I don't know if you're from echoing or you're hearing an echo. If you're hearing an echo, I apologize. But yeah, very exciting. So we have a lot planned for today. I'm really excited for the training today. This is going to be very tactical. Which I love tactical, right? Not conceptual, not woo-woo, but tactical. And that's what today is going to be. We are right here at the official start time. So, bad echo. Chip, could that be because yours maybe?
Maybe. I'm going to turn it off. I have no...
All right, I'm hearing echo, a couple people. So let's get the tech working. Jim says no echo. No echo here, no echo here, no echo here. So if you're hearing an echo, no, all right. So we've got like 99% no echoes. Lips in sync, no echo. You guys are amazing. Like I get hundreds of no echoes here in a millisecond. I got to do this live training more often. This is fun. Why have I not been doing live trainings? I don't know. If you guys think we should do more live trainings, say yes. Yes, live trainings. Yes, live trainings. Yes, says Thrift Swift. Yes, says Marie Jose. Small echo in the room, not an issue. All right, so we got mostly no echoes. Yes, yes, yes. We got lots of live training votes. Awesome. Well, we should wait till today's over. Make sure that you still feel that way. So, in fact, let me give you guys a quick. I'm going to see if I can show you this view. So I was going to do this call outside, but the internet doesn't work. It's so weird. Like 6 feet over there, there's a table, and I had it all set up to show you this view. Can you guys see? That is the lake. So I'm looking, this is Lake, you can see I disappear when we do this view, but this is the Vanishing Edge pool. And then that is Lake Austin, which is, it goes for like 60 miles both ways. It is unbelievable. So you're here in spirit. Well, you're here with me, not just in spirit, but I wish we could share the view the entire time. But actually, it's probably good that we can't because it would be distracting because that view is arguably more interesting and beautiful to look at than I am. So, all right, here we go. Everybody, Sarah says, love that house. Yeah. Love like Austin says, April Bliss. Yeah, me too. Me too. I am, because we had the flood, I'm using earbuds. So I'm not in my normal setup here. So, but luckily with Chip, my chief miracle worker, he made sure the tech was working and we are all set. So, all right, we are about 4 minutes after. So we're going to dive in and get started. Welcome to, hi, I'm Hal Elrod. I am your host. Welcome to week number 2, module number 2 of the Miracle Equation live training. This is not only the first ever Miracle Equation live training, this is arguably one of the first live trainings I've ever run in this capacity, meaning I've done plenty of live trainings, like one-offs here or there. I used to run a live group coaching program. It wasn't video, but it was audio. However, I've never done a full-blown, multi-week training where one led into the next. And I've been, this has been on my heart for a long time, and I'm excited that we get to have this opportunity, and that for all of you that are here, this is the first time I've ever done this, you've ever done this, that we've ever done this together. So really, really a special thing. A few things. Number one, I sent out an email this morning. Yeah, sorry about the link issue. We are going to have a solution for you where we're going to have one URL. It'll probably be, don't write this down because it's not decided, but it'll probably be something like miracleequation.com/live or /training, where you'll have, by next week, you're going to have one URL. And then if on our end, if there's any kind of tech issue where a link changes, we'll just rehook that link up to the new YouTube link. So that way it'll be super simple. You'll have one spot, one link that you can save in your phone or on your computer. And that every week you click that link. And if anything changes on our end, you won't even notice it because we'll handle it on the back end. So, Thomas said, by the way, we are establishing an accountability group for people whose mission is to either be a book or a full-time writer. If you're interested, please contact me. Okay, so I know we have a lot of you guys hooking up accountability groups in the chat, which is very cool. So here's what we're going to do today. Today, this is week number 2. Last week was about your first mission. It was deciding on what matters most and getting clear on what your first mission was going to be during the month of May. And it just so happens, if you're on live today or you're watching this here in the next 24, 48 hours, today is May 1st, 2019. And as I deemed it on last week's call, it is Miracle May, right? We couldn't have a better month. Well, March would have worked too, Miracle March. But my birthday's this month. I turned 40 on May 30th. So yeah, big 4-0. So Miracle May feels very, very perfect to me. Hopefully you guys are all on board with that. Yeah, hashtag Miracle May. I like it. So, so the idea, we started out week 1 with you getting clear on what is your mission going to be for May. And the idea of having a mission, right, just to remind you, kind of a recap of our last call, is that we all set goals, or most of us set goals, and goals, often we give equal weight to each of our goals. So we don't prioritize our goals necessarily. We just have a bunch of goals. Maybe we have a goal for fitness and a goal for relationships and a goal for health and a goal for our income. And we've got these different goals. And what ends up often happening is human nature is to always pursue the path of least resistance, right? Meaning we stay in our comfort zone. We do the thing that has the least significant consequence, either good or bad. We do it for different reasons: fear of failure, fear of success. There's different things that keep us playing smaller than we could or we should. However, so that's the reason that the idea of a mission is that you get clear on, okay, I've got 8 different goals or 10 different goals this year, or however many goals you have. And it's the concept of going, okay, you've got to get clear on which of your goals deserves top priority, because that goal you're going to engage in each day before you mess with any other goal. And you may remember the story that I told of 2005, the year that I set out to have my best year ever, a transformative year, my quantum leap year. And the goal was to double my income, which in and of itself would have been, enough to make it a great year. It was also to get in the best shape of my life, to launch my speaking career, to write my first book, Taking Life Head On, to get to meet my wife and get married, to lead a group of my colleagues to have their best year ever. And there was a few other goals. And to launch my coaching business. And if I would have achieved any of those goals, they would have all been, any one of them would have been a game changer for me. And I ended up achieving every single goal that I set that year. I got in the best shape of my life, met my wife, married her, more than doubled my income from the year before. Actually, not the year before, my best year ever, more than doubled my income. Got in the best shape of my life, down to 5.7% body fat. And as I always joke, I don't even know if that's healthy, right? But I put on 20 pounds of muscle while I got my fat down. I mean, I was in every area. I wrote my first book, launched my speaking career. And I say none of that to impress you, all of that to show you the power of deciding on a mission. And the idea that a mission, the word mission in and of itself, the language, it holds a heavier weight than a goal, because we often set goals. It's cute. It's fun. We imagine all these great things happening. And then we often give up on the goal before we even set it, right? Have you done that before, where you set a bunch of goals and you set all these amazing goals, and it's like, if life were perfect, these are all the goals I'd achieve. But then very often we set those goals going, man, that's like, I'm not going to achieve all those. Like, it'd be nice, but that's a lot, or I've never done that before. And what happens, because we don't have total clarity on the priority of each and every goal, when we wake up in the morning, we look at our goal list, or we don't even look at it. But if we look at it, we just go, we gravitate toward the goal that has the least significant consequence, right? There's less fear around that. And that goal that has the least significant consequence, sometimes it's often even just a task. Like we gravitate toward checking email, or surfing social media, or even watching television, or organizing things. Like, we just keep ourselves busy so that we can shy away from pursuing our biggest goals and dreams, because they're often scary, right? And that's what this book and our training is about, is going, okay, the Miracle Morning gave you your practice for personal development. Got it, check. But that does not produce the goals that you want to achieve, right? It's the foundation. It enables you to become the person that you need to be that can achieve those goals. However, you need this process for goal achievement, right? These two decisions. And so week one, last week, was all about deciding on your purpose, not your purpose, but your mission, what matters most to you. And a few things that we talked about related to that topic. And I want to recap this because it's important, right? It's not about learning something once and moving on. We've got to learn something. We've got to revisit it. Think of it this way. When you first learn something, like the first time you read a book, or you hear an idea, or you learn a concept, you are being exposed to it. If it's a new idea or a new concept, or even if it's one you've heard before, but you're not living, you're being exposed to a new way of thinking, a new way of behaving, right? And exposure is rarely enough for transformation. Exposure is the starting place of transformation, but we've got to go deeper than just being exposed to an idea. And that's where, when in the Miracle Morning, I talked about the importance of, don't just read a book, but read a book and then reread the book, right? It's when we reread a book, when we revisit an idea, when we recap a lesson, as I'm doing right now, recapping week one of our training. It's through the revisiting, the recapping, the relearning, that we go beyond just being exposed to an idea, where we're considering it, and we actually start to contemplate it at a deeper level. And we consider, how can I implement this idea? How will this idea transform my life? What are the steps I need to take right now to take this concept and actually execute on it? And now, how am I going to do that consistently, so that I see not just results one time, but I see results over an extended period of time, right? And so that's why we're recapping week one. And every week I'm going to recap the week's lessons before. So we talked about be, do, have. And if you remember this idea, this model of be, do, have, it's the idea that most of us get it backwards. Human nature is, we think that we need to have the things that we want, the money, or the extra free time, or a raise, or a promotion, or whatever. We think that, well, once I have, or once I get the things that I want, then I could start doing the things that I need to do, so that I can be happy and be successful and be wealthy and be confident and be all of the things that I want to be. And what you find is, it is backwards, right? That model of, I need to have the things that will enable me to do the things so that I can be what I want to be, is backwards. The correct approach is, we must first become the person that we need to be, in terms of the mindset, in terms of the beliefs, in terms of the habits, right? There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. You've got to be happy while you're on that journey. So the idea is first you've got to become the person that you need to be. And that's what the Miracle Morning does for you, is it is your process for daily personal development so you can become that person. And then once you become a better version of yourself, you develop qualities like confidence and belief and unwavering faith. Then you're in a position to do the things that you need to do that will then move you forward in your life, in your career, in your health, in your happiness, in your relationships, so that you can have everything that you want and everything that you've ever wanted. So don't follow society's model of thinking you need to have things so you can do things so you can be everything that you want. Understand that it starts with being, then doing, and then having. The miracle equation, of course, is the component that adds to your Miracle Morning practice to be a better version of yourself. And the miracle equation is the process for you to do the things that will enable you to have everything that you want in your life. The second thing we talked about last week is one of the most profound lessons that I've ever learned in my life, and that is the real purpose of a goal. The real purpose of a goal, not to hit the goal. That's the fallacy. That's the problem that we believe in, is we think that the real purpose of a goal is to hit the goal. And in order to, if you all you do is you think you have this black and white, if I hit the goal, I succeed. If I don't hit the goal, I fail. You're missing out on the real benefit of a goal, which is developing yourself into a better person, more capable of achieving bigger and better goals for the rest of your life. Whether or not you hit any individual goal is secondary, inconsequential to who you become by giving it everything you have to reach your goal. Think of it this way. Let's say you set out to achieve 3 goals, right? Big, major goals that scare the heck out of you. Let's say you fall short at all 3 of them, but you give it everything you have. You live by the miracle equation along the way to achieving each goal, and you develop qualities like discipline, resiliency, confidence, consistency. You develop habits and behaviors that are enabling you to develop habits and behaviors that will serve you for the rest of your life, right? Well, that, my friends, is the true purpose of a goal, is your development and who you become. And then last but not least, of course, we ended our last week's training by deciding on your mission, what matters most to you. And remember, I said 2 things. Number 1, when you decide on your mission, and the reason I'm sharing this part is some of you may still be like up in the air on the mission. I don't know if I got it right, or I'm still trying to figure it out. Maybe you've got 2 missions that you're deciding between. So I want to recap that lesson, and that is that number 1, you want to be thoughtful when it comes to your mission, right? Of course, this is important. This is the number 1 goal that you're going to work towards. So you want to be thoughtful about it, but at the same time, you don't need to get it perfect. There's no pressure to get it quote unquote right, because your mission can change and evolve as you do. And very often you set out on a mission, and then, so yeah, Kathy, you said you had a hard time with the mission. I get it. In fact, Kathy, if you want to make some notes, I'll give you some coaching right here because I'm sure it's relevant. What is your coaching? Or Kathy, what was your challenge? Put that in the notes. What was your challenge with the mission? Like, if you can articulate that in a few sentences, where were you struggling? And I know, give you a few minutes to write that down as I'll keep talking. But the idea of your mission is you often set it on a mission and one of 2 things. Number 1, it almost always takes longer than you think, right? So focusing on a specific mission, said Kathy, is the challenge. So here's what I would say. Your mission let me give everybody here, for any of you that are struggling with your mission, I'm going to give you guys something. So Kathy said it felt overwhelming. Michael said, me too. So here we go. If you don't have a clear mission, like I don't know exactly what measurable outcome I want to accomplish, make your mission for May to figure out what your mission is for 2019 and beyond. That's my recommendation. Make your mission for the month of May, Miracle May, to figure out what your mission is going to be. And maybe that means that you read articles on figuring out, like Google, just go Google, how do I figure out my purpose in life, right? Go read 5 articles on how to figure out your purpose. And each one, right, is going to give you different distinctions, different perspectives that might open your mind to new possibilities. So Jeremy Kelch said, what if my mission is where I have already been and am not currently there financially? Does that make sense? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, Jeremy, if your mission is where you've already been, but you're not there currently. So I'm thinking that you're saying, Jeremy, am I right that you're saying that your mission is to achieve a level of financial success that you've achieved in the past, but you're not there anymore, but you want to get back there? Is that right, Jeremy? If so, if you could, yes. Okay. So yeah, so that's great, right? If you were making $100,000 a year or $50,000 a year, you were a millionaire, and then you fell off of that, right? Like, 2008 when the economy crashed and I lost everything, I had to get back to where I was first. That was a milestone to then go beyond where I had been in the past. So Jeremy, that's absolutely great. Tiss says, what if my mission is to double income, but that requires getting another job, starting a business? Is that too big? No, it's not too big. And I don't think any mission is too big. No miracle is too big. And Tiss and anybody else that is wondering if your mission is too big, remember, there's almost no mission too big. The only thing that becomes, or let me put it this way, there's almost no mission that is unrealistic. The only thing that's unrealistic is the time frame, right? It's the time frame where you go, and remember my story of the Miracle Morning. My mission was to sell 1 million copies of the Miracle Morning the first year that it came out. I don't know if I've told you guys this story or not. I mean, I've told it in certain places, but my mission was to sell 1 million copies of the Miracle Morning in 1 year. Do you remember how many I sold? Roughly 10,000 copies. Think about that. I fell short 990,000 copies. I wasn't even what's that, 1%, or I don't even know, right? It's I'm not doing the math on my head, but it was close to nothing, right? I mean, I didn't even scratch the surface of my goal, but I understood that, my mission was unrealistic in terms of the time frame. And I remember that year, think about this. I remember at the end of the year when I looked at and I go, man, I sold 10,000 copies. Who was I kidding, right? Yeah, 1% math, Elaine says. Thank you. I did the math right. So I would think about that, you guys. Imagine that this year ends. Forget just the month, right? The month of May, but imagine the whole year ends and you're 1% of your goal. Like you fell 99% short. That's where I was. And for me, I remember thinking, maybe it'll take me 30 years. I don't remember why that number popped in my head, but it has stuck in there. That I thought, you know what? Maybe 1 year wasn't realistic. Maybe it's going to take me 30 years to change 1 million lives one morning at a time. And so that became, I just thought I'm committed for as long as it takes. You guys have heard me say that, the word until. That's how long it takes to achieve your mission and your miracle, until. Melinda, you said, what if your mission is to just become a better me? Is that too broad? No, that's great, right? And then the Miracle Morning will allow you to do that. But I will say that becoming a better you, for what reason? I would look at what is your purpose beyond why do you want to become better you? And if that's just to become better you and just have better relationships and just show up better, that's fine, right? There is no wrong or right way. Live your life the way that you want. Like, I know I often will use financial missions or goals when I'm teaching a lesson because it's just so relatable and measurable. Right. So I often use, becoming a millionaire or whatever. But look, like, whatever, if you want to just wake up every day and make enough money or not make any money and live in a hut or on a beach or on the street or like whatever, like, there's no wrong or right way. Like, you live your life as to what matters to you. So there is no mission that's too big or too small or wrong or right. If it resonates with you, it's the right mission. It's the right mission. All right. I know we dove into Q&A. This is kind of fun. We'll see if we have more time for this at the end today. I want to go into today's lesson, right? So again, last week we talked about be, do, have. We talked about the real purpose of a goal. And most importantly, the action was deciding on your mission. And I'm glad I could give you guys some coaching on figuring out your mission. So today we're going to talk about, in your notes, write this down, the power of your process. That is the title of today's training. The power of your process. And if you want to add a little subtitle, you can write moving from possible to inevitable. And it's important to hydrate, everybody. Make sure you're drinking water. All right. Harshini said, my mission is to become the best engineer in the world. Is that a mission? Yes, that's a mission. Absolutely. A mission is any measurable, meaningful outcome that you're committed to, right? All right, so let me dive in to today's training. I'm going to tell you a story. So again, today's training, if you got that in your notes, the power of the process, the power of your process. moving from possible to inevitable. This is another one of the most valuable lessons that I've ever learned. And to me, it's a very tactical lesson. So the idea is, okay, I've got a mission. I'm clear on what I'm working towards for the month of May. And remember, if you don't know what your mission is, your mission for the month of Miracle May is to figure out what your mission is. And you might not take the whole month. You might start working on it. And after a few days or a week or 2 weeks, you're getting more clarity. And today is May 1st. You've got the whole 31 days of the month of May to work on your mission. And remember, it's, again, no pressure to get it right. There is no right. What's right is that it's meaningful to you. So if becoming a better version of yourself is meaningful to you, set out on that mission. If becoming a millionaire is meaningful to you, right? But you're not going to do it in a month probably, but how can you develop the plan, the habits, the mindset, start reading the books, right? So that's the idea, is your mission for the month of May isn't an end-all be-all, right? I hope this is clear, but in case it's not, I want to make sure I make this point. It's not an end-all be-all. Like if your mission is this big grandiose thing, like I want to start a business, well, you're probably not going to start it in a month, right? By the way, if you do want to start a business and you're trying to figure out what to start, go listen to the podcast that came out today, the Achieve Your Goals podcast that I released today. It's with Ryan Levesque, who wrote a new book called Choose, and it's all about how to choose the market and the business for you. And Ryan runs a $10 million a year business. He's freaking brilliant. Lives here in Austin. Yeah, go listen to that. So the power of the process is, okay, once you've got your mission, which again is a measurable, meaningful outcome that you are committed to working towards, right? Once you've got the mission, you've got to predetermine your process. Okay, well, what is the process that is required to move me in the direction of my mission, right? That's what you're trying to figure out. And I'm going to tell you this story, and I think this may be in the book, but it's more fun to hear the story from, like live and in action. So here's the live story. I don't know if it's in the book or not, but if it is, it definitely won't be told the same way because I never tell things the same way. But here's what happened. So when I was 20 years old, I had my car accident, right? And at age 20, I turned 21. Or so, no, I was still, let's see, I'm trying to remember the timeline. So 1999, I was 20 years old, had the car accident, recovered, moved into an apartment with my dad because I couldn't take care of myself. And I still wanted to sell Cutco. I was still, it was a year and a half into my career. So my dad and I actually, and this part of the story, definitely, I'm going to give you guys some cool details, but my dad and I rented an apartment next door to the Cutco office in Fresno, California. So literally there was a brick wall between the Cutco office and the apartment complex that my dad and I rented an apartment. Because I had brain damage and I could not drive a car. I wasn't allowed to because I didn't have a good judgment, could not drive a car. And so we figured the only way that I could really work was I would set up field training. So meaning other of my colleagues that wanted to learn from me, like newer sales representatives, would be able to, I would walk over to the office, and I did this 5-6 days a week when I would work. And then I would meet them at the office, it'd be a new trainee. They would drive me to my appointments for the day, and then they would drop me back off at the office or at my apartment, right? So that was like my workaround for not having a car and working in a job where I had to drive to people's houses every single day, right? So didn't really go hand in hand and not have a car and have that kind of a job. So that was the workaround that we figured out. And one night one day I was making my phone calls for the day, right? So that's how the Cutco job worked, is you would do appointments. At the end of your appointment, and then, brilliant workaround, Thomas. Thank you. And yeah, you got to be resourceful, right? There's, one of my friends, Ramasio, used to always say just such a simple quote. But when you would call his voicemail, he would say, "Hey, you've reached Ramasio, leave a message." And he would always end his voicemail by saying, "And remember," this is worth writing down, you guys. Again, it's very simple. There is always a way when you're committed. You could sum up this book with that sentence. There is always a way when you're committed. When you commit to maintain unwavering faith and put forth extraordinary effort for as long as it takes to achieve your mission, your miracles, there's always a way. As long as you stay committed, you can't fail. It's just a matter of time. It might take you, like me with Miracle Morning, to sell 1 million copies. It took me 6 years instead of 1. Might take you longer, but there's always a way when you're committed. And so, and Elena, you're committed. Elena says, "I will figure out my mission in the month of May." Awesome. Very cool. Beatrix, you're totally changing my life. Thank you, Hal. Beatrix, you are welcome. And I I selfishly would just reading your comments get much more like I would just love that. Just you getting nice things. So I appreciate that. Elevate, the author says there's always a way when you're committed. Absolutely. So here's what happened. I made calls one day. And again, the way Cutco worked, you'd go get referrals, and then you would go home and you'd have, let's say I saw 4 people that day, and maybe one person didn't give me referrals, but 3 of them would give me an average of, let's say, 10 to 15. So I'd have 30 to 45 people to call that were brand new folks. And I'd get on the phone and I would say, hey, hi, I'd look at my notebook, say, Mary, hi, we haven't met before, but I was over at your friend Jane Smith's house, and I was showing Jane some kitchen products, and Jane just said you like to cook and thought you might enjoy looking at these, and you don't have to buy anything. There's no pressure, but if I could come over, it'd be great, yada, yada, yada. And then I would schedule appointments. And of course, about half the people you talk to said, sorry, I'm busy, don't have time, thanks for calling, and they would hang up on you, right? And then, half the people you talk to would be nice, and they'd be like, yeah, sure, if Jane said I might like it, sure, come on over. So there's just a quick 1-minute overview of how the job at Cutco worked. So one day I made my 20 phone calls for the day. I got a hold of almost no one. And I think the 2 people that I got a hold of were very rude. I caught them on a bad day at the bad time, and they hung up on me and they were like, don't ever call me again. And that, if you've ever been telemarketing or anything, even though it wasn't a telemarketer, right? But I was calling people in that same fashion. When someone's rude to you, you have to develop a thick skin. And for me, I don't have a real thick skin. I mean, I developed it over time, but I would get my feelings hurt when people would go, don't ever call me again. I don't want anything to do with you, right? Click. And you're like, I'm a nice person. Why would you talk to me like that, right? So one day I make my phone calls and I schedule 0 appointments, and some people are rude to me. And then that was in the morning. And then that night I got on the phone again, made another 20 phone calls, scheduled 0 appointments, had another couple people hang up on me that were really rude. And when this happens, and if you've ever been in sales, it's a hard job, and that's why most people don't do it, because the feeling, the emotional roller coaster of where, you have a good day, then a bad day, and you have a customer that's the sweetest person ever, and they buy everything from you, and then the next person is super rude and mean, and I've had some crazy stories. I had a guy once take one of my knives and throw it right next to my head. So anyway, crazy stories. I don't know why that's not even relevant, but the point is, I was feeling like quitting my job that night. All right. If you ever felt like quitting because things were not going your way. In fact, when you live the miracle equation, right, it's almost inevitable when you're pursuing big, significant, meaningful goals and dreams, and you're not doing what the majority of society does, which is just the minimum to get by, right? And even if that's been what you've done in the past, right, that is what this book is about, and this training is about, is getting out of your comfort zone and being willing to get clear on what is your mission, what is the most meaningful outcome in your life that you're going to pursue with unwavering faith and extraordinary effort, right? And so for me at that time, I was in the same way that when you're pursuing a mission and you face self-doubt and you face challenges and you face setbacks and you encounter failures along the way, it's very common, right, for you to lose that drive, that motivation, and to essentially, I just hit a button. There we go. When you lose that drive and you lose that motivation, right? Well, human nature is to stop moving forward. It's to just go back. In the book, I said it's, the temptation is to crawl back into the cave of your comfort zone. And even though it's dark in there and it's not really comfortable, it's kind of cold, it's kind of scary, right? At least it feels safe, and the walls, and right? That is our lives. And so I had the temptation, which, as a salesperson, when things didn't go well, there'd always be that thought of maybe I'll just go back to just go get a regular job where I just show up. There's no variables of people can't be, there's no failure and success and this roller coaster. I just clock in, clock out, really not a lot of risk. Maybe I'll go back to that. And that's what I was thinking that night. And then as I was falling asleep, I had one of the most valuable epiphanies I've ever had in my life. And this is the foundation of the training today. And I call this the power of the process, or today's training is the power of your process. And the power of the process, this is how it unfolded. I went, so wait a minute. I thought, okay, the game that I am playing, and this is the game that most of us play in life, but I thought the game I'm playing in my sales job is that if things go according to plan, right? Meaning if I set out to schedule 5 appointments, one day and I make my calls and I schedule 5 appointments, things go well, I feel good, right? When things go good, I feel good. Things go well, I feel well, right? And I thought, but if things don't go well, like they did that day, if I make 40 phone calls for the day and I set 0 appointments when I was trying to set like 10, I thought that is, this just isn't fun anymore. And I don't know if I want to keep doing it. And so I thought maybe I'll quit. And then I realized, but wait a minute, the game that I'm playing, I've got the rules set up wrong. Meaning I'm not in control of my emotional state with the way the rules are set up for the game that I'm playing. My emotional state, and therefore my quality of life, because think about that, at the beginning and end of the day, our quality of life really is our emotional state, because it's not what's going on around us, but what's going on inside of us. You probably heard me say that many times. It's what's going on inside of us that determines our quality of life, right? The world can be crumbling around us. Things can be in disarray. We can be facing problems and challenges. But if we have figured out how to manage our emotional state, right, and optimize it regardless of what's going on around us, then our quality of life is great. In fact, that's, one of the most valuable chapters, I think, in this book, which I happen to open up to, which is Becoming Emotionally Invincible, right? Chapter 4. How to release every negative emotion that's ever held you back, right? Chapter 4. One of those valuable chapters, and that's what we talk about, is that this is how you manage your emotional state so that you can be happy and at peace. Because remember, be, do, have, right? First, you need to be mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually the person that you can be, and then you get into the do and the have. And so for me, I was thinking about, man, maybe I should quit, and then I realized, wait, my rules are set up where I'm riding this emotional roller coaster that I'm not in control of my emotional state. My circumstances are controlling my emotional state. I thought that's no way to live. And then I stepped back and I went, well, wait a minute. My results at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the year, and really at the end of the year, I was thinking this was, by the way, this was taking place around January or February of the year 2000, right after my car accident. January or February, or no, 2001, sorry. And that, so I had the whole year ahead of me. And I went, at the end of this year, how much I sell for the year, right? And now if you're not in sales, just take whatever your goal is. I thought if your goal is losing weight or writing a book or making money, whatever your goal is, I thought whether or not I reach my goal isn't dependent on how any individual phone call goes, or day of phone calls, or day of appointments, or how a week even goes, or really how even a month goes. I thought at the end of the year, so again, the point of this, right? The time frame is arbitrary. What I'm teaching you right now is the idea of the power of the process is that when you commit to your process, because every result, every long-term outcome is preceded by a process. The process is required, it is necessary, and it is responsible for producing every outcome that it is that you're pursuing. So the secret to success is, or one very prominent secret to success, and this is worth writing down, is to be committed to the process, be committed to your process without being emotionally attached to your short-term results. So be committed to your process, and if it helps you to write down, over the long run, for as long as it takes, stay committed to your process without being emotionally attached to your results. That's the secret to success. Now, again, it's easy. It's one thing to hear that and even kind of understand it. It's another thing to go, okay, but how do you implement that? How do you live that? And that's what we're going to talk about today, right? Which is, knowledge is great, but we don't need more information. We need methods for implementation. So that's like everything I try to do for you guys is we're going to dive into what are the methods for implementation. So for me, here's how this played out. So I realized, okay, I need to flip the rules of the game that I'm playing. Instead of letting my emotional attachment be about the results that are out of my control. I can't control if I call a person and they say yes or no that they're willing to do an appointment with me. I'm not in control of that. I can't control. I can influence it, right? I can be the best I could be on the phone. But if they just lost their job, or their child just spilled all over the rug a minute before I called, well, no matter how great I am on the phone, it's probably not going to matter, right? If they just had some tragedy happen in their life 10 minutes before I called, well, that's out of my control, right? So I thought the only thing I can control is my commitment to executing my process. I thought I can commit to picking up my phone and making 20 phone calls a day. And here's the thing. While that particular day, my 40 phone calls did not provide any fruit, right? They didn't work out so well. I had been in that career for a couple of years at that point, and I went, I know that the law of averages work out, right? Which means that if you keep doing a consistent effort over a long period of time, everything kind of averages out. And so I thought, at the end of the year, it's going to be not 20 calls that will determine my success. It's going to be hundreds of calls, or actually 20 calls a week times 50 weeks. I believe that's 1,000 calls, right? Wait, 20 calls a day, 100 calls. I don't know. Chip, do the math. What's 100 calls a week times 50 weeks? Is that 5,000 calls? Okay, so 5,000 calls. Thank you, Chip. You guys are. I'm so lucky to have a Chip Franks just right here at your disposal. It's amazing having this brilliant guy that could just tell me numbers and whatever I need. So, anyway, but so 5,000 phone calls was the process that was going to determine how my goal at the end of the year. And here's what I realized in that moment. I thought, it doesn't matter if I have a bad day on the phone. As long as I make 5,000 calls this year, my success is virtually inevitable. And you guys might, right, connecting the dots, inevitable. That's what we're trying to get to. When you predetermine your process that over an extended period of time will virtually guarantee your success moves from possible, which is void of any meaning. Possible means nothing. Right? Everything exists as possibility, but possibility doesn't get you anywhere. You've got to move your goals to probable, and the commitment to your process over an extended period of time for as long as it takes until you achieve your outcome, your mission, right? That's how you move it from possible to inevitable. And that's what this is all about. So here's how this played out for me in real time. It was very powerful. I decided, okay, I'm not going to worry about how many appointments I set when I make my calls anymore. Like, yes, I'll have an intention if I want to schedule this many appointments, but if I schedule, half as many as I was trying, or none, or all, I just decided I'm not going to be emotionally attached to my short-term results, because I'm not only working the job for a day, right? You're not in this life. You're not in this life for one more day. You're not in the life for one more day. You're not pursuing your mission for one more day. So why would you be heavily emotionally invested to how any given day went? No, enjoy the day. In fact, if you have challenges, setbacks, just smile and go, you know what? Results-wise, today sucked. But thank goodness I'm not only living for one more day. Thank goodness I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to engage in my process again. And if today was horrible, the law of averages says that tomorrow, the odds are it will be better. And if tomorrow's horrible too, sometimes you have 2 bad days in a row, the odds every day that I have a bad day, every day that things don't go according to plan, statistically, you are increased. And I say every day we have a bad day, or every day things don't go according to plan for us, we are statistically getting closer to a great day. The more bad days you have in a row, the more you're just lining up the best day of your life, right? And of course, I'm a big believer in you can choose to make every day the best day of your life, because that's a mindset, right? That's the B piece. That's where you wake up every day and you go, no matter what happens around me, today I'm choosing that today will be the best day of my life. I'll be the best me of my life. I'm going to show up in every relationship, in every situation, with every client, with every employee that I have. Right? I am going to be the best person I have ever been, the best version of myself, and I'm going to make today a great day. And then if your day falls apart and everything goes wrong, you can end the day smiling, going, man, thank goodness I had already decided it was going to be the best day of my life, because today sucked. Thank goodness it sucked on the best day of my life, because that's a lot better if today would have already gone in going, well, the circumstances will determine the quality of my day, right? I think my AirPods are dying. How does that work? I think I can. Sorry, my earbuds might be not doing so well. All right, I'm going to try new earbuds. Guys, hang tight. Just tech. It's always tech stuff. Tech stuff. All right. Everybody hang tight while I get my new earbuds in. See if this works.
Put one in and keep going with the other one.
Oh, genius,
Yes.
Chip.
Yoga 98 said that too.
All right.
Charge one while you're using the other.
Got it. All right. I think I'm connected. It says I'm connected. Oh, nice. They're both low on battery. All right. Cool. All right. We'll get through this. We got 15 more minutes. I think I got enough for 15 more minutes. All right. Can everybody hear me? Give me a quick yes, we can hear you. It works. Okay. Good. All right. And then I'll use those as a backup if I need to. I'm going to plug those in actually. So, haha, couldn't hear. Wait, what's everyone saying? I can't see. I see comments. Yes. You guys are so sweet. All right. I love the immediate feedback of live training. It's beautiful. All right. So here we go. So here's what happened. So I decided I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to make 20 calls a day and I am going to be completely emotionally unattached from the results. And I'm actually about to teach you. I just remembered. I'm going to teach you guys half hours of power. This is a strategy. I don't know if this is in the book. I don't remember. I don't think it is. But no, Chip Frank says it's not. So here you go. This. I'm excited. You guys are going to learn something. It's not even in the book. So this is great. Live training is the best, says Mark. Yeah, I agree. Use a wired headset, no brain cancer. Larry, I am with you. I lost my attachment. I have the same thing. I call these like cancer buds. I use them as little as possible. I ordered wired headphones, are coming on Amazon today. So anyway, thank you for that. Thank you for looking out for my health. I appreciate that. And for everybody, yeah, who knows what these cause? Don't wear these unless you absolutely have to because you're doing a live training and it's all you've got. But in general, plan to not have those. All right. So here's we go. Here's what I decided. I decided I'm going to make 20 calls a day, 5 days a week, and I'm not going to worry about my results. And here's the half hours of power strategy. So in your notes, write down half hours of power, and you can also do it as an hour of power. Now, and if you're a Tony Robbins fan and you're like, wait, is this like Tony Robbins' hour of power? No, nothing like it, completely different, except it's a similar / same name. But here's how this works. I decided, okay, I added up how long does it take me to make my 20 phone calls for the day, right? So look at your process. Right. The whole point of today is by the end of today, your homework is going to be to define your process. Your process might be a specific activity like making phone calls, or if you're writing a book, it's writing a certain amount of words, or if you are in some sort of job or company, right, it's some sort of measurable activity that at the end of the day, you can say, I did this thing this many times, right? You want it to be as simple as possible. Ideally, you want it to be a repeating activity, right? So if you're training for a marathon, I'm going to follow my marathon training routine, right? That is your process. If you are trying to lose weight, you're going to monitor your calorie intake. That is your process. Maybe combine that with exercise, right? So your process may have more than one facet or more than one activity, but you want it to be the minimum amount possible. So it's very simple and easy to commit to. So here's how this played out. I committed to 20 phone calls a day, 5 days a week. My manager hated it because I would call my manager and say, hey, Jesse, he'd go, what's your goal for the week? And I said, I don't have a goal. I'm just going to make 20 calls a day. And he'd go, Hal, you're the leader in the office. I need to be able to plan our sales report. And I go, Jesse, I'm trying a new strategy where I'm not worrying about the results. I'm not stressing over the results. I'm just committing to the process because I know that the process, if I commit to it and I don't get emotionally attached to it in the short term, over the long run, over the year, I think everything should play out. And here's what happened, you guys. Every day, I did the strategy half hours of power. What that meant was, I figured out how long did it take me to make 20 calls? It took me 1 hour. That meant I could stay on pace by making 10 calls every 30 minutes. And the reason I went from 1 hour to 30 minutes is, right, there's a lot of research, a lot of simple science or studies show that the simpler something is that we commit to, like the less amount of time and the less amount of activity, the easier it is for us to commit to it, right? Like the idea of committing to run a marathon is overwhelming. The idea of committing to run a mile is a lot less overwhelming. And if you run a mile every day and you do that for an extended period of time, you'll eventually get to where you'll increase your capacity. And now you could go to 2 miles and then to 3 miles, right? So the idea is commit to this small, simple process. And what happened was half hours of power works like this. Because we are normally emotionally attached to our results, here's what I would do. Is if it took me, I could make 10 calls in 30 minutes. I would make 10 calls as fast as I possibly could. Okay. And so I would try to get them done in a lot less than 30 minutes. I'd make 10 calls. So I'd make a call. If I get a voicemail, I would leave a message. I'd go to the next call and I would go as fast as I could. And here's the beauty of it. I wasn't worried about whether or not someone answered the phone, if they were rude to me, because I wasn't emotionally attached to my short-term results. I was thinking of the long-term results. And so here's what happened. I would make my 10 calls as fast as I could, and I would then reward myself with a break for the remainder of that 30 minutes. Now, you could do an hour of power and apply the same strategy, or the 30 minutes, but here's the beauty of it. So let's say I'd make 10 calls. You go, oh, I get a break. And then my break would be, I might text a friend, or I might watch a video on YouTube, or I might scroll social media or whatever. I would just disconnect. I might meditate for 10 minutes. I might do some jumping jacks, whatever, right? Whatever you want. You earned it. The point is giving yourself, because here's the thing. The point is giving yourself a short-term immediate reward for effort that you're putting forth, and you're training your brain. Okay, please don't overlook this strategy. It's really powerful. You're training your brain to link pleasure to the activity in the short term that normally you link pain to, because it may or may not work out the way you want it to. You're training your brain to link pleasure because you're doing it as fast as you can. There's no stress over it. And then you're immediately rewarding yourself with something super simple, checking the internet, Facebook, email, whatever. And now your brain says, oh, doing this activity gets me an immediate reward. It feels good, right? It's like the Pavlov experiment, right? I think that's the experiment with the dog and the cheese and the bell and all of that, right? But you're immediately linking pleasure to the behavior that you need to do, the process that you need to do to achieve your long-term results, your long-term outcome, your mission. And then I would take my break, whatever I earned. And here's the thing. By the way, the reason for the break within the 30-minute time frame is because if I lagged and I didn't make my calls quickly, right? I would, if I made a call and I'm like, do, and twiddle my thumbs, and then made another call, do, right? Well, then I would run out of my 30 minutes and I wouldn't get a break and I wouldn't get to reward myself. So the point was doing it quickly so I could reward myself. And here's how it changed my emotional attachment in a profound way. In the past, if I would call someone and they would hang up on me and go, nope, Jane told me that you were calling, not interested, click. Normally, that created a negative emotional experience for me. And I went, why would they hang up on me? What a jerk. I'm a nice person. But now, with my new half hour of power strategy, if I called, and it could be the exact same conversation. Nope, Jane said you were calling. We're not interested. We don't want what you're selling. Don't ever call here again. We hate you, right? They usually didn't say we hate you, but they would say, I would feel that way. I'd feel like they hated me, right? Normally in the past, that would hurt my feelings. I'd get off the phone and I'd be all demotivated and kind of sad. But now I would literally hang up and go, sweet, that's the fastest call I could have. Fastest call I could have. I am that much closer to being done with my half hour of power, and I get to go check Facebook. I get to go meditate. I get to go read a book. I get to go watch a video, whatever I want to do. And every day, all I did was 2 half hours of power, and that was it. And the rest of my work was showing up to the appointments that I set. And here's how this played out. Let me wrap this story up, and then I'm gonna give you 5 steps to implement. Your homework is 5 steps today. But here's how the story played out. Over the next 4 months, I made 20 phone calls a day, 5 days a week, and occasionally I'd make more calls if I wanted to really work harder and schedule more appointments. But for the most part, that was my foundation, 5 calls, and I would do in the morning, 20 calls, 5 days a week. Then I would go out to the pool and I would lay by the pool for an hour and get some sun and just relax and whatever, right? It was a beautiful, chill life. I would go to my appointments. If I sold, great. If I didn't sell, no emotional attachment, where I used to have that. I used to, I rode that emotional roller coaster, but now it was this new game I was playing where I was not going to be emotionally attached to my short-term results. I was committed to my long-term process. Over the next 4 months, I was competing with 50,000 sales reps in the company that I worked for in Cutco. 50,000 sales reps. Now, they didn't know my new half hour of power strategy. They didn't know the secret to success yet, which was to commit to your process without being emotionally attached to your results, right? They didn't know that yet. I did. And here's the beauty of it. At the end of those 4 months, and I use the 4 months because that was the spring campaign. The year for us was broken into 3 parts. The spring campaign. I was the #1 sales rep out of 50,000 sales reps for that spring. But here's the best part. I had the easiest job in the world. I had been #1 before, but I was stressed out all the time. I was emotionally attached to my short-term results, and I was riding that emotional roller coaster that all my colleagues rode. But that particular spring, I was #1 out of 50,000, and they unfortunately were still riding the emotional roller coaster, and a lot of them had probably quit because the job got difficult, right? But for me, the best part was not only was I succeeding in achieving my mission, but I had the least stressful job on the planet. My job, the stress from my job, it didn't exist anymore because there was nothing stressful about picking up my phone and dialing it 20 times because I now focused on the process. I was committed to the process, and my emotions were only attached to the only thing that I had control over. I couldn't control my short-term results. I couldn't control how people treated me. I could only control how many times I picked up my phone and dialed 7 digits. And if they hung up on me, if they sat with me, an appointment, if they were rude to me, it didn't matter. I wasn't in it for the short-term results. I was in it for the long-term payoff. And that year I had my best year ever. And that spring, number one in the company, and it was the least stressful job. So that is the power of the process. Every result, every outcome, every mission, every miracle that you want in your life, every outcome, every goal, every dream, every single one is preceded by a process. It's very simple. Every goal, and that process is required to achieve the goal. So stop being emotionally attached to your results short term and simply commit to your process and let go of that short-term emotional attachment, realizing that you're not just alive for one more day. You're not just working for one more day. You don't only have one more day to achieve your mission, right? You've got the rest of your life. And of course, yes, maintain a healthy sense of urgency every day. But at the same time, don't be stressed out over how any given day goes because you're in this for the long run. And here we go. I am going to give you guys 5 steps. And by the way, these are 5 steps that are found in chapter 8. Chapter 8 is titled Your Second Decision, Extraordinary Effort. But I want to talk you through these 5 steps and walk you through these. This is your homework between now and next week's training. Step number 1, predetermine your process. If you haven't already done that, predetermine your process. How do you do that? Well, you ask yourself, what are the activities that will ensure I eventually reach my mission, right? And then your process, it depends on your mission. Some missions require a more complicated process with more steps involved. Some, like my sales goal, was just really 1 step. It's make the phone calls, right? Do it over and over and over again. So your process we'll get to this in a second, but figure out what your process is. Number 2, release any emotional attachment to your short-term results. That's step number 2. Consciously make a decision. Release any emotional attachment to your short-term results. And of course, if you need to go reread the chapter, Becoming Emotionally Invincible, great. And you have to release emotional attachment over and over and over again, especially depending on how programmed you are to be emotionally attached. We're all different, right? Some of us get really stressed out based on our short-term results. Some of us are like, no big deal. And most of us are somewhere in between. So make a conscious decision to release any emotional attachment. And again, you'll have to make that decision consciously every day because each day when things don't go as planned, you're probably going to naturally, your subconscious will take hold and your past emotional attachment will bring itself to the present moment. So you've got to keep making that conscious choice until it'll get easier and easier. And part of your 30-day challenge in becoming a miracle maven is that at the end of the 30 days, I have no doubt in my mind, if you practice this and you follow what you're learning in the book and the training, you will be on your way to becoming emotionally invincible, and it'll be easier than it ever has been before for you to just let go of negative emotions. Step 3, schedule your process. Step 3, I hope you're writing these down. Schedule your process. So, and this for you, especially if your process is complicated, if you're like, wow, my process, my mission involves like a 17 or 22 step process, right? Like it's not just make phone calls every day. Like I got to do this, then I got to do this, I got to do different things. Well, then step 3, scheduling your process is going to be crucial for you because for you, there might be so many moving parts that your process may just be the time commitment, right? That really may be the process where you go, well, I'm just going to schedule 1 hour a day or 4 hours on Saturday or 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night, right? Like, and my process is multifaceted. So it's not just going to be, it's not just jumping on the treadmill every day or writing every day or making phone calls. There's a lot of different moving parts. Great. So scheduling your process will be the key to ensuring that your process happens. It'll be scheduling the time to commit to following through with whatever your individual activity or activities are for that given day. Step 4, safeguard your success with accountability. I'm going to encourage you guys to go back to page 186 because there's different examples of how you can establish accountability. I'm not going to go into all those examples now. Go back to page 186 in the Miracle Equation book to get different options for how you can safeguard your success with accountability. Just know that it is important, right? Most of us, all of us, will only hold ourselves accountable to a certain degree, myself included. I consider myself very self-accountable, but there's still things that I don't hold myself accountable to, right? We all have standards that we abide by, and accountability is having someone or something else that will hold you to a higher standard than you hold yourself to. And step 5 is assess your results and adjust your process accordingly. Oh, what if you bought the audiobook, said Tanvir? Tanvir, I'm so glad I saw your comment. Where is that? All right, so page 186. So basically, Tanvir, and anybody that has the audiobook, just go back and re-listen to chapter 8, right? That's really what I dove into today. And there's a reason that we're moving around in the book. I'm not following the book in the order that it was laid out. And there's a purpose behind that. But if you have the audiobook, just go back and listen to chapter 8. And chapter 8 starts on page 171 of the book. So roughly 10 pages in, and you'll get to, but re-listen to that chapter for sure. And step 5 is, again, assess your results and adjust your process accordingly, right? So as you're moving through, like for me, for example, as I'm making 20 calls a day back when I came up with the power of your process, I might have realized after a few weeks that, hey, I'm not getting the results I need. I need to increase my process by 50% because I'm 50% behind on my results. Meaning I would have gone from making 20 calls a day to 30 calls a day. That would have been a 50% increase, right? So assess your results along the way and then adjust your process accordingly. And remember, the secret to success is, or at least one secret, is to commit to your process without being emotionally attached to your results. And the last lesson that I want to give, and then I'll open it up. I'll see if I'll stay on for a little more Q&A. The last lesson I want to give is this. How to get yourself to take action. So let's say, all right, you've defined your process, you've scheduled your process, you've got your accountability, but you don't feel like it. You wake up in the morning and on any given day, you just don't feel like it. How do you get yourself to do what you need to do? We might have touched on this on the last call, but I want to recap this. It's such an important lesson. I learned this initially about 15 years ago from John Maxwell in his book, Failing Forward. And John Maxwell said, how do you get yourself to do the things that you know you need to do, but you don't feel like doing them? And the secret is you act your way into feeling. Human nature is to passively wait to feel like doing something. And people go, gosh, I wish I was more motivated. I wish I had their energy. I wish I had her motivation. I wish I felt like it. I just can't get myself to do it, right? And the idea is, if you're sitting on the couch thinking about working out, good luck. Like, you're not likely to feel motivated to work out. You're likely to feel motivated to keep doing what you're doing, right? If you're sitting on the couch, you probably will feel motivated to keep sitting on the couch. You're watching TV, you'll feel motivated to keep watching TV. So the secret to success, this is another one. One secret to success today is to be committed to your process without being emotionally attached to your results. The second secret to success is act your way into feeling. What that means is just you have to stop thinking about it. You don't think, oh, do I feel like it? Like when I was in sales, I had a time, an alarm would go off on my phone that would say, make your first call, don't think about it. And I would pick up my phone and I would just look at my notebook of referrals and I would just dial the first number without giving it any thought, because thinking about it, I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to call that person. And I would overthink it, go, is this the right person to call? Is this the best person to call? Maybe do I really need to make my calls now? Could I wait another hour, right? We talk ourselves out of doing the thing that we need to do. So stop thinking. And Nike, right? The brand Nike, just do it. Like, that's the secret. Just do it. So act your way into feeling. And the example I often give is, if you need to get in great shape, pack your gym bag and just get in have an alarm that goes off that says, don't think about it. Just get in the car, grab your gym bag, get in the car. Don't think yourself out of working out. Just drive to the gym. And once you're there, you're probably going to work out. Don't have an alarm that goes off that says, start typing. If you want to write a book, open your computer and just start typing, not knowing what you're going to write. And guess what? within about a minute or so, you'll start to be forming coherent sentences. And because you didn't wait until you had it perfect, and that's what we do. We wait until everything's lined up perfectly before we take action. That stops us from achieving our dreams. You've got to just get in the car with your gym bag, open your computer, start typing when you don't know what you're going to say. Call a person in your notebook when you don't know if they're the right person to call, right? Get up and walk over, just whatever it is. Act your way into feeling, do the thing. So to recap, your homework, 5 steps. Number 1, predetermine your process. Step 2, release any emotional attachment to your short-term results. That's a conscious decision you'll make every day. Step 3, schedule your process, right? Put it in there. What is your mission? I call it my mission time. Put it in. Usually it's first thing in the morning or first thing in my workday, like at 8 a.m. That's my mission time, where I'm not allowed to work on my other goals until I have executed the activity, the process that is going to make achieving my mission inevitable. Step 4, safeguard your success with accountability. And again, go back to chapter 8 or page 186 for specific strategies and options on safeguarding your success with accountability. And step 5, assess your results and adjust your process accordingly. So along the way, if things aren't working, make adjustments. And now I'm going to look to the chat and see if I can ask any questions or read. Kathy, I'm going to read the nice things some of you are saying here. Oh, by the way, before I do, Kathy said, I feel blessed by you today. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate you. Carrie Baxter said, best training ever. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, Carrie. Larry Grossman, excellent, Hal. Dorothy Putnam, this is such great stuff. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys. It's good to hear feedback. Aaron Fleming says in capital letters, so damn motivated. Thanks, Hal. Patricia said, excellent training. Awesome. I love you guys. I'm so glad you got a lot of value today. And remember, do not hang up yet until you get this. The value of training is never the training. It's what you do after the training. It's implementing the training, right? So make sure that you don't get off with just feeling high like this was great. You've got to follow through with these 5 steps. The rubber needs to meet the road. You need to implement what you learned today. The value of training isn't from the training. The value of any training comes from your implementation of the training. So please make sure you schedule time to follow through with all of this stuff. And last but not least, join the new Facebook group that I emailed you about. Oh, yes, 2 things. Thank you, Chip. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. So on my YouTube channel, I sent you a link. If you don't see it here, I don't know if it's on the live stream. I don't think it is, but if you go to my YouTube channel, there's a link in the email I emailed you this morning and the one I emailed you yesterday. No, actually the one this morning. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get all notifications of any new videos I put out. And number 2, check the link I sent you this morning, the first one. I sent you 2 emails this morning, actually 3. Sorry, you got a podcast email, which was already automated for Wednesday, so you got that one. You got an email this morning, which was a reminder for today's call that had all the action steps to join the Facebook group, the new Facebook group for Miracle Mavens, to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then you had another email right after that said, guys, the link's not working. And then that got you on this live stream with the new link. And I will be uploading this to the membership site, and you'll be getting a notification from me that you can log in and access the recording from today within 24 hours. And I will see you on next week's call. But again, let me see if there's any questions that I can catch that I can ask. How can I implement a half an hour of power, moving quickly and rewarding myself with a break with practicing golf? Moving too quickly might create bad swings. Great questions, Jeremy. And I love a question that we can bring into a big lesson. So Jeremy's question is, if he's playing golf, what's he going to do every 30 minutes, right? So Jeremy, maybe for you, it's just rewarding yourself after every golfing session, right? So, or maybe it's after every hole. Maybe after every hole, you do something that you enjoy doing. Or maybe it's after every 3 holes or 6 holes. Or maybe it's after each day of golfing, you go treat yourself to your favorite lunch or your favorite dinner, right? So some sort of reward. So Jeremy, I'm glad you asked that, because it's an important lesson that, when you learn something like half hours of power, there's usually flexibility, right? You can usually adjust or implement or change or expand or contract. Right, same thing with Miracle Morning, right? There's 6 savers. You don't have to do them in the order of SAVERS. You can change the order. You can change the duration. You can change anything so that it fits your lifestyle, fits your needs. Awesome. All right. Any final questions? How many half hours of power do you strive for daily? So Briar, it depends. So for me, if I was making 20 phone calls in a day, right, every half hour I'd make 10 phone calls. So I would do 2 half hours of power. And sometimes I would do them back to back. Sometimes I would break up half in the morning, half in the evening. if I would be in a sales contest and I'd be working harder and I would want to make 40 phone calls a day, that would be 4 half hours of power. So the nice thing about half hours of power or even hours of power is you're kind of modulating things, right? So you're going, okay, I'm breaking up my big to-do into these smaller sections, right? You can even, if you've got like in your workday, you can create what I call a foundational schedule, which is you time block, right? You go, okay, 1 hour, my hour of power is going to be focused on my personal development goal. This hour of power is going to be, that's why you can literally do more than one mission. Well, not more than one mission, but the way you apply hours of power to your goals is through creating a foundational schedule where you time block, right? So for me, if I've got 8 goals and I've got 8 hours in a day that I can work on my 8 goals, well, then 1 hour would be time blocked for my health and fitness goal. 1 hour might be time blocked for my writing goal. 1 hour might be time blocked for a new business I'm starting. 1 hour might be time blocked for, a new book I'm writing. 1 hour might, right? So you can adjust your schedule, and not just in any given day. One day could be time blocked where one day is working on your current business. One day is working on your new business. One day, in fact, I read a book on mindfulness, and I'm going to start doing Mindful Mondays, where I'm going to start taking an entire day of the week to just do mindful everything. Meditation, mindful eating, take a bath, just a day of real self-care. I just read that yesterday or this morning, I think, and I put that in my schedule starting soon. So, all right, guys and gals, I love all of you. I've got to get running for my next hour of power, if you will, which actually is lunch. I haven't eaten in quite a while, so I'm going to go eat some food. I hope you got a lot of value, and everybody go connect in the new Facebook group. We launched that so that you have a place where you can all connect with each other beyond just the chat, which obviously, based on the hundreds and hundreds of comments, you guys and gals are super, super engaging with each other, and I love seeing that. So head over to the Facebook group. It is the Facebook group, in case you don't, the link's in your email, but in case you just want to go straight to Facebook, it's called the Miracle Equation, and then in brackets, Miracle Maven. So the Miracle Equation, Miracle Mavens Facebook group. I will check in and I will see you there. Sarah said, love you too. Love all of you. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to end the live stream today and in the training, and I will see you next week, everybody. Take care.